So you've worked out your budget for your big lap. Maybe you can watch last week's video on how to budget for the big lap around Australia. And now you're staring at this number and you're probably thinking, this gap between what I have saved and what I need seems ridiculous. It might seem absolutely massive. And it possibly is. So in this video, what I'm going to be walking you through is the exact system on how you can close that gap. I'll be showing you the two options that you have, how to achieve those two options. And I'm also going to mention this, I guess, sneaky way you could probably think of it as what some families have done to get around this budget conundrum. So let's get stuck straight into it. The first step that you need to know before you do anything is, what is your budget? If you're not sure what your budget is for your big lap, this is the first thing that you need to sort out, because if you have a tangible number that is yours, not somebody's on the internet, not average, not a guesstimate, if you know exactly what you need to save for, then you can actually start saving for it. If you're not too sure, well, firstly, I do have a spreadsheet to help with that one. There'll be a link somewhere in the description below, but also watch the video that I might put here. If editing Margie can work that one out, I'm not so fantastic with that yet, but otherwise I'll link it in the description below also on how to actually budget to work out your exact number that you need for your family. It's unique to you. So that's number one. That's before you can do anything else. You need to know what you're saving for. You need to know where your goalposts are. So number two is you need to know your departure date. Once you've got your departure date worked out, then everything else becomes clear. You can then work out how much you need to budget for. You can get everything in place, so then you're ready to depart on time with everything sorted. So budget, get that sorted. Departure date, get that sorted. Then what you do is find today's date, your departure date, work out how many weeks that is, and then however much you need to save up for, then divide the number of weeks by that number, by the number of weeks. Anyway, do what I put down somewhere on the screen here for the mathematical component of it. But basically, you need to get to that number that you need to save up for every week. And I want you to look at that number. And I want you to ask yourself, is it possible? So if the number seems absolutely ridiculous, here's where you've got two options. And I'll talk you through both of them. Option number one is not, look, I don't like saying this one. You can move the departure date. Do it mindfully. So I don't want you just to go, oh, I'm going to move the departure date to next year, because as I said, and I've harped on about this many, many times throughout my videos, you need to have a departure date. However, if financially that departure date is not possible, you can move departure date. Do it mindfully. Choose a new departure date. Have a chat with everyone in your family to make sure everyone's all happy with it. And then stick to your new departure date. Don't just move it to let it go off in the air. Move the departure date, lock in a new one. So that's option number one, because then that makes that you can save less per week and it's a bit more manageable. So at the end of the day, you don't want to put any financial strain on anyone. So if that's what you need to do to achieve your goals, that's okay. So that's option number one. Option number two is look at your total overall budget. Can you lower it? And what I mean by that is, do you need to do all the amazing experiences? Yes, a lot of families put that emphasis on. It's once in a lifetime. It's the opportunity while I'm there. Again, don't put yourself in any financial strain. And secondly, look at the positives. Can you take time away to spend with your family, to explore? And can you do it so you don't come back under so much financial stress? Because you don't want to add stress onto a holiday, which should be amazing. So do you have to do these amazing experiences? Can you free camp a bit more? Can you choose some of the caravan parks that are a little bit more out of the way? Can you change the time zones around so then you're not going in peak season? Perhaps with the fuel, you might not want to travel quite so far. So you can then go, instead of going 5,000 Ks across Australia, let's just stay in the state and do, 6 months around Queensland, Victoria, wherever the case may be. So you've got lots of variables you can play with in order to get that budget down. So the second option that I've been talking about is lower your budget. Is it possible? This is what you have to talk to the other members of your family about, because everyone needs to be on the same page, and especially when it comes to finances. So if everybody's happy to do that and you can stick with it, then that might be your key to be able to depart on your big lap of Australia. So whichever way you decide, as long as, remember, don't put yourself in financial strain, and you've got the numbers and you've got your working out and calculations to back it up. So you're not going on a guesstimate, you're going on actual data. And that's a really, really big difference. Once you then do go on your holiday, you need to make sure you're sticking to that budget, or you're doing something about it. For example, I want to go on more experiences. I changed my mind. That's cool, but can you come back earlier so you don't blow out that budget? So it's all being mindful. It's all being knowing what you're spending and can you afford it? All right, enough of me rambling on with that one. Once you've got that number that you look like you can save up for weekly, you then need to stick to that. So what a lot of families I've seen do is open up a separate account, which is your holiday fund, and then you put every week that amount into your holiday fund. So then you can see it growing, and there's something really nice about that. And you can then even have it on a spreadsheet. As I said, this is all part of the spreadsheet that I've got. Otherwise, you feel free to make your own. Even just grab a pen and paper, put the weeks down and tick it off as you go. There's something really fulfilling about going, yep, I've put $100 this week into my account, tick. And then you can mentally see it all leaning towards your big holiday. So that's the third step, is then start saving for it. However, now this is something that normally the next question that comes up going, well, but living expenses are so tight. How do we find the money just to be able to put our living expenses away? And this is where a lot of families, and there's something that I will let you guys know. Do I believe in it myself? Possibly, but we have to do it very carefully and we have to do it calculated. And that's when a lot of families do leave without having saved up all of their money. And coming to think about that, this is what we do too. So we depart knowing that we don't have the full funds in our bank account. So we don't have that pool of money, we don't have that pool of money to be able to pool on. So we actually, thinking about it, this is how we do it. Because I know that I work on the road, so I get my usual income. I also know that we typically rent out our house, so there's a portion of that. Obviously, a portion goes to a mortgage and all the rest of it, but we get a portion of that to help fund our travels. We also, so there's a couple of income streams that just remain normal for us. So we don't necessarily sit down and go, we're going to budget for all of it. Of course, we do budget a big chunk of it because it's nice to have that backup and the what if, and you need to, just in case you need to maintain your caravan and all that sort of stuff. So a lot of families do depart having not saved up 100% of their travels. If that's going to be you and you do decide to do it this way, you need to make sure that you have money coming in. And this is where it comes to then working on the road. And if you would like to know some of the stuff about how you can get money and working on the road, sorry, microphone, I did it again. If you would like to know how to get money on the road, then I suggest you watching this video here, which I'll go through all of that information for you. So I'll see you in that one.